Okay, so for those of you guys remember last video, we said that the fuel tank that came with the diesel heater was too small. So I did some shopping around the same way I did when we were trying to extend the frame out to try and see what it would cost to pay somebody else to do the same thing. Found a cheap tank on Craigslist for about $200, but they wanted $1,500 at the big truck shop for the straps to put it on the actual truck. I think that's ridiculous. I ended up not going with that tank because I would need a lot more modifications too. And instead, we got a couple of donated air compressors and then bought this welder, $500, same price as the other one that we got to build our own, essentially modify this tank and build our own. This welder is different than the other welder because this one is a MIG welder. The other one is a stick combination with a TIG and plasma cutter. So now with the MIG, and this also has a spool gun, well it's supposed to, haven't opened the box yet. Now we can weld everything except magnesium, and all this stuff will have a spot on the truck. So let's take this box off and see what we got. This is actually a Lotus MIG 175. Let's take a look at what we got. So you guys are probably wondering why we keep going with Lotus. The stick welder that we needed to extend the frame out was $500, which is fairly cheap for a stick welder, but also it had a plasma cutter and a TIG welder. When you add those three functions together, we should have paid probably triple that price of $500. And so that's why I bought it the first time. After buying it the first time, I found out that Lotus is a California company. It's not a Chinese brand. They just happen to be in the US and they make consumer grade welder and equipment and other things like that. So I figure I'd try them again for this MIG welder. They make like consumer grade stuff for little stuff around the house. I use that welder for probably a total of 10 hours, maybe 20. We've had it for a while and I probably use it a total of 20 hours. So most people will be like that in their own shop, in their garage. I don't see the reason in buying a $3,000 machine if you're gonna use it for 20, 30 hours and then it sits on the shelf the rest of its life. Same thing with this machine, which is why we bought the Lotus. All right, first box. So the first in the box is the MIG gun. It looks like actually very good. It feels very good quality. This lead doesn't feel too good, but the rest of it feels solid. It's a thick, heavy cord. Next in the box, and this is heavy, it's the spool gun. This is a bit lighter than the MIG gun. I see some plastic components in here too. It came with aluminum. I'm not going to use that, but it came with some. That's cool. If you want to learn how to weld, it comes with aluminum. Let's see what this box is. Oh, sure. So in this box, they give you a spool of MIG wire, your 70S-6. I probably won't use this either, except for practice. In this box is the regulator. It's an argon regulator. I'm gonna have to do some research and see if I can use the C25 with this regulator too. I don't know. I would think you should be able to, but I don't know. This is the grounding strap. The grounding strap that came with the first Lotus welder that we got, the 520, was very crap. This one feels a lot more solid. This feels way more solid. I might have to use this on both welders. And then we've got a inert gas hose. And they give you one of these like hand face shields. I never really liked using those. I'm sure you could, but I kind of want my hands free. So probably won't be using this either. And the last thing in the box. Oh yeah, this is way heavier than the other one. This is in here. Foam. That's just foam. All right. All right, this is it. This feels solid. The handle does feel kind of cheap. Well, it feels loose. This is what 16th inch thick casing. The welder that we built the truck out of, the Miller, I think it's a Miller 210, I can't remember, it didn't feel this heavy. It didn't feel this solid. I don't know if it feels heavy because they use cheaper components or if they use quality components. I don't know, but it feels heavy. Here's the inside. Also way cleaner design than the Miller welder that we used. This area is larger. I think this will accept the bigger of the spools. So you probably could use this in a production environment. And for 500 bucks, I mean, you could replace these things once a year. It's not going to really break the bank. As opposed to the Miller machine, I want to say last time I looked at the price of those, it was $1,500 to $2,500 for a similar setup. When I say similar, I mean machine with the MIG spool gun, or the MIG trigger gun, and the aluminum spool gun, probably close to $1,500, $2,000. And here we got everything, 500 bucks. I'm actually excited to get this thing running. We're making something right away. We're not just gonna run beads on plate. Yeah. That's amazing. On your stuff. Got the warning on that side. Chemicals in the cord, known to cause cancer. Don't eat your welding cord. This is the little face shield that they give you. Oh, this is cheap. Yeah. This feels like... No, I could see somebody using this. I don't recommend it, but I could see somebody using this. This is sharp. Somebody is standing next to you. You say, here, hold this real quick. I don't know what this is for. Oh, is this a chipping hammer? This is a This is a chipping hammer. Okay. And some tips. So here's a quick side comparison to the machine that we bought a couple years ago and the machine that we just got in, well, yesterday. It's the new one, the MIG one on the right here, is definitely larger and is definitely heavier by quite a bit. I don't know if we highlighted this or not yet, but keep in mind that if you're going to weld on something big for a long period of time, you only have a 30% duty cycle. I don't know how that compares to something mainstream brand or not, but I think that's kind of low. But I'll never be pushing this machine to max capacity. Most of the stuff that I'm going to be welding on is going to be 1/8 inch or lower. Okay, so the thing we're going to make tonight is, well, it's already made. We just have to modify it a little bit, and that's this cart. I want to be able to push these welders underneath the shelf that I have, and so the cart needs to be dropped down to about this level here. So about half of it down, it needs to go down. So we're going to undo they're flathead bolts right here. Undo those, drop the cart down, re-weld it, and then cut off the excess. Simple project for this welder, should be no problem. One thing I'm concerned about is cleaning up the steel on the edge, and this is very rusty. You can't see it on my fingers, but this is very, very rusty in here. Pretty sure the rest of the body is going to be pretty rusty, but we'll see. Quick shop project. Let us see how the welder runs. I guess since I got the welder up at eye level, I can show you how I'm going to set it up here to weld with solid wire, not flux core. So the solid wire means that I need to supply my own shielding gas, and I'm going to do that with an argon bottle that I have off camera over there. First thing I want to do is just unscrew this, get this in its holder. This has to be unscrewed all the way. Completely unscrewed. Of course, put it back in to hold it in place. So we want the polarity to be DCEP for MIG welding. Electrode positive. So as you can see, we've got the wire from the electrode going up to positive, and then we've got the wire going down from the, should be the ground clamp. That will be going to our negative. And it's nice that they give us a little chart up here because I did not remember that. It's something that you'll notice right away if you spent any amount of time welding at all. When you light up and it's not how you expect it to be, you'll notice immediately. It'll be like it won't look like a nice weld. It'll look like you messed something up. I really like how these thumb screws are on here. Don't need any tools to change out my electrodes from one wire to another. And then release the tension. And there's a roller in here. Written on the roller is the size that you need, and it tells you up in the diagram up above. And so the above diagram says that we need to have it on the side stamped 0.8 through 0.9 for 030 wire, which is what I'm using. And then I just need to get the right wire. I'm not going to use this stuff. This is the stuff that came with it, and I don't really know what it is. Does it say? It says what it is. I should try it, but I'm building a fuel tank with this next weekend, and I'm going to practice what I'm going to use next weekend. So I'm just going to put that on now. This is the stuff I'm using. Lincoln 035 or 030 solid MIG wire. And loading this on the machine needs to be turned on. I'll do that here in a second, but you want the wire coming off where it's at a decent angle going into the machine. Some machines, oh, don't do that. Don't want to let go of this because it could be tangled around and tie up your wire and cause a jam. But some machines require it being on top, some require it to be on the bottom. This one's on the bottom. And you don't want to let go of that spool until you put some tension on it. Okay. And you want a set of side cutters to snip this wire. Snip it straight and then guide it through. It helps if you have the wire kind of straight on the end. Just kind of straighten it out a little bit. Feed it in a decent amount. Close the tensioner. Give it a little bit of tension. We're ready to fire this up. First time turning it on. There it is. We're going to take the cap off. We're going to take the contact tip off. Verify that it is the contact tip for the rod that we're using, or for the wire that we're using, and that's 030. I'll get a better shot of that. Squeeze the trigger. Squeeze the trigger until wire comes out. There it is. That's all you need. Turn the power back off. Put your contact tip back on. Put the gas shield back on. Snip the wire to about 1/4 of an inch. There you go. That's about how much you want to start welding with. Now for a gas cylinder setup, this is what I'm going to do. This is C25, or 25% carbon dioxide, 75% argon. It's a mixed gas. Take the lid off. Always keep this on when you're not using the gas, unless it's strapped to the wall. I don't have a good way to strap that to the wall right now. We're going to work on that and get that later. But this is what I'm going to use for today. I am going to strap it to this table leg so it doesn't move. This table leg is pretty solid. I don't want to knock over this gas cylinder and break off this valve stem, because this is a lot of pressure and will send this bottle flying like a rocket, seriously hurting or possibly killing somebody. Don't want that. So we're going to strap it down. Okay. I don't need it to hold the bottle in place while if it does explode. I just need it to keep the bottle from tipping over and possibly causing that explosion in the first place. Hose is on the regulator. Regulator's on the bottle. Final step is to put that whole thing into the back of this machine. This port right here is where the end of the regulator goes into. And then now off camera, I'm going to unbolt that top shelf and unbolt this top shelf, move it down, and I'll come back to you guys when I'm ready to weld.
Here is the finished cart. Kimi did a great job on it. It has a spot for both of the welders, the helmets, gloves, PPE, all of the tools and gears and grinders and discs and all of that good stuff. Quick update on the truck. Things are still trucking slowly along. We installed 2 Chinese diesel heaters, one of which we ordered from a different manufacturer. as the first one, and it doesn't quite work quite as well as the other one. So we did ship that back, are ordering another one from the first manufacturer. You might be wondering, what does this thing have to do with the truck? We're going to put this in one of our bins and take it with us on the road. Part of the reason why we're building this truck is to have no compromises. And for us, that means taking with us what we need to do what we need to do anywhere. Let us know what you think. We always appreciate your comments. If you liked this video, make sure to push that like button. And if you're new to the channel, subscribe so you can see all of our videos and all the new ones and the old ones, and yeah, push buttons.